Hello and welcome to the Legacy Crusaders blog channel. This is Benji. Today I will be showing you my Burning Abyss Thunder Dragon Orkest Lightsworn 60 card nonsense mishmash. This will be the last video to ever appear on the Legacy Crusaders blog channel, and the future videos of this nature will be included in the memberships, private membership videos on the actual Legacy Crusaders channel. Truth is, I'm not that tempted to make videos here. Anything I can put here, I can put on the memberships, because anyone who pays for membership is more interested in this kind of stuff anyway. So memberships will include my deck profiles that I don't deem reasonable to put on the channel, as well as any kinds of behind-the-scenes things, bloopers, and so on. Occasionally I'll have a friend who has a deck profile of something very meta or cool that they just refuse to share, and it will go there under the $5 membership. But it's rare that that'll happen. So for now, the dollar memberships, you get the badges and access to the behind-the-scenes things. There isn't much up there at the moment. Any kinds of assistance with yugitubing will also be there. Anyways, let's get into the deck profile. I have a 60 card deck. Here's the Burning Abyss engine. Play one Fiendish Rhino Warrior to send the Chaos engine, not the BAs, but you can send the BAs with the Rhino Warrior. Also, he's a normal summon you can use with the Burning Abyss cards. We have one Graph, limited 1, one Seer, limited 1, one Libic, limited, not limited, but not good enough to play more than one. But this one gets these out of your hand if you draw them. You really want these in the deck, because your Cherubini normally sends either Rhino Warrior, unless you use Rhino Warrior, in case you send Graph, and then Graph summons the Seer. But if you're holding the Seer, then Libic will summon the Seer for you, because you don't want the Seer's effect to ever be the hand-activated effect, but it can happen. One Farfa, who banishes cards, one Skarm, who searches Tour Guide. Tour Guide is the ultimate hand trap magnet, so you don't ever want to start your play with Tour Guide if you can avoid it, because the BAs will kill themselves on the field with Tour Guide, and you don't want to have to commit your normal, get hand trapped on Tour Guide, and then just pass. There are extenders to get around that, but really you want to Skarm, search Tour Guide for turn 3 when you go to push for game, but you are going first with this deck. That's the Burning Abyss engine. That's 7 cards. Next are the extenders and the cards that help you get into the Orcust plays or build up additional resources. We have triple Neospace Connector. There's also Reinforcement of the Army in the deck, so sort of 4 of this, and the one Aqua Dolphin. Now, Aqua Dolphin with Dangers is a Cherubini, which is enough to do the Orcust combo and have Beatrice. If you have one additional extender, but I don't have Dangers yet, although the Megatins have just come out as of tomorrow, which could be now by the time this video goes up. So the other extenders in this deck, I'll say what's being replaced. The other extender I'm playing currently is TG Warwolf, which is when a level 4 or lower monster is special summon, you can special this from your hand. That includes your opponent, so if your opponent goes first and then they do some sort of a combo where they special a level 4 or lower monster, and you think your TG Warwolf is safe, you can just special this to the field. That way, if you have like another TG Warwolf, you can just do the combo with just your normal summon. You could actually special TG Warwolf and then special another TG Warwolf. So you draw multiples, you can just summon them. Although these would be better as Dangers, because if you open Aqua Dolphin and Satsunoko or Jackalope, you can just discard it to pull a card out of your opponent's hand, and then activate the Danger to special itself. The other current extenders are Defrag Dragons, which is you discard a monster to special this card. Also, if you have 3 copies of another card in your graveyard, you can banish those 3 copies to special this from the graveyard. That effect is once per turn, specialing from your hand is not, although you probably won't have that many monsters to discard. But yeah, one of the Defrags and the 3 TG Warwolves will be replaced with the 2 Jackalopes and 2 Tatsunokos when that is available to me. Well, it should be soon. But yeah, that's just going to make the deck better. It's already good. Next is the Orcust engine. I have 1 World Legacy World Wand, 1 Symbol Skeleton, 1 Harp, 2 Nightmare. Alright, so 2 Nightmare. This is so if you draw 1, you can still do the combo. Also, Allure's in the deck, just for later. These are fine to banish off Allure, as long as you don't open both Orcust Nightmares, you should be okay. But yeah, if you do need to play 2 Orcust Nightmares, because if you draw one if let's say you play 1 and you draw it, you can't do the combo. But the other problem is if you draw the Symbol Skeleton, you need a monster in the deck to summon out of the deck off the Harp. So you can discard the Symbol Skeleton for the Nightmare Mermaid, but then you still need a card in the deck to do for the harp. And because you're playing a lore, if you ever like banish one of the pieces to start your turn, you can put it back with the Galatea earlier in the combo. But you do need to play 2 Orcust Nightmares. Harp is good when you have dangers, but I don't have dangers, so currently I can only play 1. The wand lets you get an extra body for OTK or a better turn 1 play. So the wand is pretty good. Alright, play 2 bricks. These are Minerva Lightsworn Maiden and Minerva Twilightsworn Shaman, and there are only 2, so you can never resolve Twilight's Shaman's effect. What her effect is, you can banish 1 Lightsworn from your graveyard to special a banished Lightsworn, but because you'll never have a banished Lightsworn to banish this one, you'll never be able to resolve it. But the reason these are in here is because I play Charge of Light Brigade as a mill engine, and these don't really matter. Pretty much you just search Minerva and you discard it to get a free mill, but it really, you just want the 4 or 5 cards you get in the graveyard from that. And the reason I play the Dark Lumina, and these are both level 3, and the goal is that you could just normal these to go with certain parts of the combos. And this is a dark monster, so if you need a dark for a Lure of Darkness, you can charge a Light Brigade into a dark monster. And again, they're level 3, so that's why they're selected. The Thunder engine is 3 Thunder Dragon Dark, 3 Thunder Dragon Roar, and I want to hit them with a lure, so that's why they're at maximum. It is a 60 card deck, and it's not that hard to thin the deck, and you want to get them into the graveyard, so you really want to have access to these, so you need a lot. You need a lot of them. Play 3 copies of Thunder Dragon OG, because I actually play the fusion spell on this guy. Makes Titan, and this helps you have extra cards to discard. I play 1 copy of Hawk. So the sequence is normally you banish Roar using whatever method you can to summon Dark, then you link Dark into the Orkest play, and then you search Hawk. And if you have Roar and Dark engrave, you can do quite a bit more. But I'll show a combo later, I guess. The combos are somewhat random in this deck. You can end on maybe Beatrice, Colossus, Dingirsu, and Topologic Bomber with the field spell, but variations of that are a little bit less sometimes, depending on what your hand is. Next is a Chaos engine. The first Chaos monster is also part of the Thunder engine. This is Thunder Dragon Duo. He's a level 8. I considered putting in a rank 8 into the deck, but I decided that I prefer a certain Link monster instead. But this is a searchable card should you, for whatever reason, you can't get your Hawk, you had to use it for something, you can at least search this and summon it. I play 1 Chaos Sorcerer right now, which is the most questionable card in here. It's because it's level 6, and you can use it to hard summon Beatrice. And you want to, but yeah, so you can't hard summon Beatrice to level 8. So you can play BLS, but it doesn't help the combo. In this case, you just be using it as like a BLS and then using it as Xyz material. Play 1 Chaos Betrayer. Now this is the reason this deck came to be. Pretty much it's a graveyard Chaos Sorcerer. You banish 2, a light and a dark, and you special it. And when you do that, this will special itself. It gets banished when it leaves the field, but it can banish a card in the graveyard, your opponent's graveyard, so you can banish anything, spells, anything. It's come up in my testing that you can banish your opponent's crescendo after they've used it, so that they can't recycle their deck as well. It's pretty cool. Also, it chain blocks the Thunder cards, because you'll banish a dark or something, and then this will be chain link 2, and the dark will be chain link 1. Next, I play 2 copies of Chaos Dragon Levenair, which are also the melody targets. There's a card that doesn't quite fit into the Chaos engine, but doesn't really fit anywhere else, so I'm including it here, is Fabled Soulkiss. If you draw the Chaos Betrayer, or you don't have cards to banish for the Chaos Betrayer, off the Fiendish Rhino Warrior, you send the Fabled Soulkiss. And between these 3, you should be able to hard summon the Beatrice quite often. At the very least, there are just extra bodies to do the Orcust combo, or OTK your opponent. The last melody target is Darkest Diabolos. So if you melody, you get 1 Levenair and 1 Diabolos. You can potentially actually do a 4-card hand loop in this deck if your opponent's playing a bunch of small monsters and you don't get hand trapped. Next, spells. End traps. We have 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. 30 monsters out of those were dark. I believe we have 17 spells and 2 traps in the deck. And in a 60-card deck, 17-2 is 19. We have 41 monsters, 30 of which are dark. So we almost always hit a dark off a lure, or always have darks in our hand, and a lot of our darks are good to hit. Play 1 gold sarcophagus, which gets all plays going. In the Thunder deck, play 1 foolish burial. Whoa, camera shift. Don't know how that happened. Alright, let's continue. 3 Melody of the Awakening Dragon, which is discard outlet, as well as searching the Levenair, which gives you access to a Chaos Engine. Searchable Chaos Engine. Let me move that. Alright, next I play 3 copies of Charge of Light Brigade, which is the only reason the Lightsworns are even in the deck. It's so that you can activate this card and get ahead. Got Reinforcement of the Army to search the Neospace Connector. I guess the Melody is the most likely one to be dead. You could draw 2 of the Chaos Monsters, the big dragons and the Melody. Play 1 Thunder Fusion. A lot of combos you can't be done unless you had Thunder Fusion in your deck at least, because I don't know, sometimes you just go through everything and then you just can't make a Thunder Dragon in the end, and then if you just have this, you can just play it, so it helps. My back row removal are 2 Galaxy Cyclones. I like these because they can out floodgates, and they're useful in the grave after the fact. They can deal with Mystic Mine. I play 1 Twin Twister right now because this is going first deck, but at least I am respecting back row decks enough to at least acknowledge that I might need to out some back row. It's also, if you pick up your Seer after doing like the opening combo where you don't keep the Beatrice on the field, you can discard the Seer and bring back the Dante and trigger like a Topologic Trisbaena, and then, or a Bomber, and then get the Dante to get the Seer back, and this is a way to out discard that at that time. Play the 1 Orcust Babel and 2 Crescendo. So that is the 60-card main deck. We'll do a random shuffle combo in a minute, see what we can do. Next, the extra deck. Got Link 1s. We're going to go through the Orkest package. Got 1 Mermaid to do the combo. If it gets ashed, whatever. It's hard. There's a lot more cards. There's many cards to get ashed in this deck, but it doesn't really matter. This is probably the worst one to get ashed, I guess. 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix. Usually use the Cerberus, and then you save the Phoenix for late game if you need it. Unless you can co-link it to something, in which case you pick whichever one makes the most sense. The Orkest Galatea, which you need for the combo. You need Long Girsu for the combo. You need Ding Girsu for the combo. And then your end board ends on either Trisbaena or Bomber, depending on what your opponent's deck is. If your opponent plays no extra deck, you go into Trisbaena, assuming they're going to set everything. Then you activate Symbol Skeleton to summon a Ding Girsu to a zone that Trisbaena points to, and then Ding Girsu reattaches Skeleton, which sends the Skeleton to the graveyard, or it could attach the Nightmare to send the Wand to the graveyard to bring the Ding Girsu back later. Play 1 Boral Sword for OTKs. 1 Cherubini for combo. You don't need to use the Cherubini in the combo, but it makes the combos better. Dante's part of the combo. Beatrice is extra card sometimes. The Dante doesn't always come up. We have the Colossus, and a Titan. The Trisbaena could be cut for a rank 8 if you can think of a rank 8 that's worth playing. You can only really play Darks by the time you get to resolve that, so the only ones I found that made sense to play are Sephonon, the Sky Prison. I'm not 100% on how you pronounce his name, or Lancelot. I don't think they're really that good. Sephonon stops you from summoning from grave, which means he locks out your Trisbaena and your Bomber play, so it's a little iffy to use that card, but it does stop a lot of decks from playing. It makes more sense when you're playing like a Guard Dragon deck to have that. Next, let me show you the side that's currently built. I did like go undefeated with a variant of this deck the other day. I'll show you the cards that were in the variant. At the moment, the side deck is built like this. Is 1 Barbar for time, because if you can make Cherubini, you can send the Barbar if you have a BA in the graveyard. If you don't have a BA in the graveyard, you can send the Graph, which will summon the Barbar. Then you do the Orcust combo, dealing 300 damage while doing a combo. So a justifiable use of time. I'm playing 2 sphere modes for combo decks. It's just the easiest way to out some combo decks. Now, I do need my normal in the way this is built, but with dangers, I probably won't need my normal as much. Playing 1 Twin Twister, 3 Mystic Mines for combo. So pretty much for the combo decks, you just bring in the 2 Wing Dragon Raw sphere modes and 3 Mystic Mines. So this is like out the combo instantly. Stop them if you need to. Mind Control is pretty good. You play your own Dingirsu, so you could steal the Galatea if you bait things enough. You could just scribble out of plays with Mind Control. I was playing Electric Virus, but I found that some people play, what do you call it, Magical Muskets. It gets played like an OTK deck sometimes, and then they'll make me go first, and I just won't play any cards. I'll let them go first. They'll put a card on the board, and my goal will be to Mind Control it, and then do the combo and OTK them. So, one Raigeki, and I've been playing this in my Infernoid deck for like control decks I'm expecting to be part of this format. 3 Witches Strike, so this stops anybody who plays Judgment. So this is for Altergeist, or I mean, it could work against Salamangreat. It's a little tough with Balinks, but you get their hand at least, and this is good against Subterrors. 2 red reboots. So that's the deck list. Just do a quick shuffle and run through a combo. Actually, before that, I'll just show cards that I was contemplating playing. I played some, that's why they're sleeved, and others I didn't try. Originally the Trisbaena wasn't in the deck. I planned on putting in Virgil, and I was going to summon it off. I was going to summon Rubric off of the tour guide to make a level 6. That way I can just either summon the Fabled Sulcus or the Chaos Betrayer to make the Beatrice that way. Also gave Beatrice something to float into. You could float into the Dante with the Beatrice if your opponent destroys it, and you just hard summon the Beatrice. Armageddon Knight would be another possibility. It's really full deck. Armageddon Knight I would like more if I were playing more harps. And maybe 1 brass, because Armageddon Knight, send brass if you have either Orcust Nightmare or harp in your hand is full combo. So that's how he becomes a 1-card combo, or you have to play Destrudo to do 1-card combo, but that costs half your life points. Again, I'm not playing Dangers yet, so Greffer didn't make the cut. Destrudo didn't make the cut yet. Rubik was there for that play considered. I had more Skarms than originally. Quick Launch could summon level 3s from the deck. Also gives you more dragons. It was a plan to play this card. Your Trishula, the Dragon of Icy Imprisonment, to potentially banish your Thunders from your deck, just to get them to go off, but you need more dragons to do that, and I just don't play that many dragons. Terror Top and Takatomborg, but not Dark. I was going to play an Instant Fusion Engine, and I have a Flame Ghost, which is just a level 3 Dark, which is fine. It can help you do the combos pretty well, especially if you're just stuck with a bunch of normal summons. It's something you can use if you're going to play Instant Fusion. Maybe Winda behind Cherubini is something you can do and just sit on it. You can kind of protect it with the Dingirsu-like play that used to be played. I was playing a Lumina, I was playing a Raiden. This is like you bricked, so the only thing you have is just summon Raiden. Because Raiden mills more cards than the other Lightsworns if you had to just sit on them, but he's the least, he does the least with the deck itself. So he just lets you mill 2 extra cards and hope you hit something really important. So I don't know, I cut him. Again, I didn't want to play so many Rhinos. I was playing Ash. I tried a Sangin, but it wound up getting used for Xyz material a lot, and it doesn't activate that way. I had extra BA names. I was playing Dragig and Hagna, just to be more names. Now this one came up with Gallus, Dragig, or Drahig, or I don't know how to say this guy's names. Draghig. He could stack the deck with a monster to make sure that Gallus hit, but I was only playing Gallus again because I didn't have BAs. But Dangers, but I decided to play TG Warwolf instead. Calcab was in here. I was playing the 2 mini Chaos Dragons, but they made more sense before I got the Levinaires. I got the Levinaires yesterday, so I just wanted to put them in instead, trying to Melody and I guess more BAs. So that's kind of like all the things I was thinking about as possibilities for the deck, or was playing before. Now let's just shuffle it up and see one like combo. And again, it's kind of random because you don't know what cards you're going to hit, but there's some pretty good possibilities come out of it. Obviously, you can get hand trapped anywhere in any deck, but you know, let's see what happens. Now, I was playing a Cyber Dragon Orkest deck, and I'm probably going to play that in the regional this Saturday, but I wanted a deck that can go first, and my Cyber Infernoid Orkest deck did not go first too well. This deck goes first very well. Get a little more height here so you can see it better. Shuffle everything to death. Alright, I'd say that's probably pretty shuffled. Alright. Put this here. I think everything can be seen. Alright, draw a hand. Oh, this is not a particularly good hand. I call that a brick. Let's just see what the next 5 look like. It's not that common that I brick completely. This is actually quite good, so we'll go with this one. I know the other one is a brick, but you know what happens. It's gonna happen. You know, I'm not lying. Shuffled everything up. All right, so now I kind of want to get the Aqua Dolphin out of the deck first, but I don't really have a backup play if that fails. I don't have another Thunder to activate currently, but I have the play of just activate Scarm, Special Scarm, and then normal Thunder Roar, but then I can't use the connector. So here's a bunch of possibilities. So we're just going to hope we don't hit the Dolphin. Charge a Light Brigade, mill 3 as cost. We had Orcust Nightmare, so now we don't need the Neospace connector to resolve. Now we're just going to get Lumina, because we can discard it. Not Lumina, Minerva. Minerva can be discarded to get an extra random mill. Oh yeah. We're going to normal the Neospace connector. Currently we've just gone, we lost the field spell by the way, but we can get that back next turn, so that means we're not doing a field spell play, we're doing a counter trap play. We're going to summon Aqua Dolphin. If we had TG Warwolf in our hands, we'd get a free level 3, and then we just use those two. We'd pull a card out of our opponent's hand, we'd use those two to make Cherubini. But since we don't have that, we can't be doing Cherubini in this case. Maybe we'll get lucky on what we hit on the Minerva. So we've taken a look at our opponent's hand, we potentially get rid of a hand trap. Sometimes they won't use they won't stop the connector if we mill the Orcust Nightmare. So we're going to mill a card off of Minerva. We hit the Thunder Roar. So we don't really have a way to get anywhere yet. But we can just do Orcust combo at this point, and then we can discard Scarm to search Tour Guide for next turn. So that's that hand. Let's just try another one. So that hand was at least playable. The other one just wasn't playable, but that just happens. That can happen in any deck. 40 card deck with no bricks. That'll still happen. You know, just won't have like the right set of cards. Let's see what we get. 11 air. Oh wow, this looks bad. Yeah, it's not a particularly good hand. Let's see the next 5. Well, we have quite a few things we can do with this one. Tour Guide means we have Cherubini. Let's see what happens when we actually go into Cherubini. So we'll do Tour Guide into Graph. Go into Cherubini. Graph will activate. Since we already used Tour Guide, so we don't really need Scarm, but we don't have a level 3 to use for well, for now we're just gonna summon the Scarm, I guess, just to get a card to our hand for later. Or we can get the Cherubini back. We'll do that. We'll send Seer. Means we get a free level 3 on the board. I could probably show the Trisbaena lock, the extra deck lock. Next, we have Thunder Fusion in hand. We can't use it because we don't have any other Thunders yet. like trying to think of a way we can get stuff banished. But for now, we can use, we don't have a light in the grave. Currently, we can send one with Foolish Burial, so, alright. So we're going to, we're going to use the Cherubini to send the Rhino Warrior. She only sends level 3, so you can always send the Orcust skeleton if you need to, if everything gets really screwed up. Rhino is then going to send a Fiend, so that could be the Chaos Betrayer, it could be the, what do you call it? The Fabled Sulcus, which is what I think I'm going to send here. That one's a little more live. I guess, nah. We'll send the Betrayer. That way we have a banish possibility in the future. We can activate the Thunder though, just to thin the deck. We can actually Foolish and then Foolish Thunder, OG Thunder, and then play Thunder Fusion and hard fuse it is a possibility as well. But anyways, let's try and do the extra deck lock. So we're gonna use those two to make a Cerberus. Seer will summon the Cherubini here because this is where we're gonna put the Trisbaena. Next we're gonna go into Mermaid. I don't know why I put that in defense, it can't be in defense. Activate Mermaid, discard the dark. So we thin the decks of all the darks, we don't need them. We use these to make, we actually need to make the Trisbaena somehow at this point. So we need one more body, but we have Foolish, so Foolish should be a body. We don't have a light in here at the moment. So I guess we Foolish. Do we need to discard the dark? Let me put the dark back. We'll say we discarded the dark, but without doing that. So we're going to Foolish the Thunderhawk. No, the OG Thunder Dragon. Now we'll activate the Chaos Betrayer, banishing the Dark and the Thunder Dragon, chain blocking. I guess we can't chain block the Chaos Betrayer because our opponent would have to have hand trapped us for them to have a card in the graveyard. We're going to search the Hawk. At this point. Next, the Chaos Betrayer is going to get banished as we go into Trisbaena. Next, we no longer can use this side of the field, which is a bit problematic, so we're going to come to the other side of the field. Now, currently, our opponent cannot summon from the extra deck without getting banished. Whoops, fix that. So now we can activate Thunderhawk to summon from the banish zone. Doesn't really matter. Either of the Thunders, we go into Colossus. Oh no, we didn't activate one yet. Yeah, we're activating Hawk to summon Dark back to make Colossus. Next we use the Orcust Nightmare to send Harp. And summon the Skeleton. Next we make Longyursu. Now we have this engrave. We're gonna eventually make Dingirsu here, so I guess we would summon another. Because we don't want our opponent to summon from the extra deck. I guess we could also. There's just a million options with this particular hand. We can summon back. Trying to get the thing on the board. I guess trying to keep the Dingirsu on the board because we can't protect this thing now. So I guess we'll just summon the Galatea and then use that to get the field spell because we already have the counter trap. Shuffling back with the Orcust for the field spell, just so we can set another one in a minute. We'll set the trap card. We will activate the Thunder Fusion, shuffling back the Thunder OG and the Thunder. I guess we want the Hawk in the deck versus the Dark, because the Dark we can banish. We shuffle these back into the deck to summon another Thunder Colossus. Then we can overlay for Dingirsu, who can recover the... doesn't really matter which one we recover, so I guess we'll get the skeleton. And then, did we use Skarm in this? No, we used Seer because we used Torghast already. So this allows us to lock our opponent under double Colossus, a counter trap, and Trisbaena. But if the one problem with this play is that if we do this play and our opponent specials to the extra monster zone, they will banish our counter trap and our babel. So most likely our opponent will actively have to try to destroy the Trisbaena first before doing their plays, in which case you can negate them beforehand. Additionally, if they just try to Twin Twister these, to prevent you from negating them, you can just detach with Dingirsu. So this is like an unbreakable board, other than by like Nibiru or the Dark Ruler No More or something that you can't deal with. Well, I guess we could stop Dark Ruler No More to start the play as well. So that's one combo. We'll do another. And that only took 4 hands to do that, but out of 4 hands we hit 2 like great hands. Well, one decent hand, 1 amazing hand, and 2 brick hands, but that happens. It's a 60 card deck. It'll brick probably a little bit more than other decks, but you have a lot of cards to work with usually when you're going second. Keep this thing from moving. It's on like a swivelly thing. We'll do one more. Sure, this is getting a little long, but it's very flexible. If you understand what's in the deck, you can make a lot of decisions based on what you have. So I've made boards at the weirdest hands. So the hands we had that we couldn't play, we actually just could not play. I don't know. I really want to know that this is shuffled, but I don't like power shuffles. It takes forever, and they're not as random as other things. All right, so let's see what we get. Skeleton, Harp, Rhoda, Thunder Fusion, Graph. Okay, so this is not particularly great. It's not awful. We have combo, we have standard Orkest combo. We don't have a way to get to Cherubini at the moment, and we don't have a way to make use of this Graph right now. So we can discard, so we can summon Neospace Connector, summon Dolphin, discard Harp, because then we do Orkest combo. We have both of these in graveyard already. Yeah, and then we'd be fine, I guess. That's a very standard hand. Let's see what we can do with something else. So that's minimum standard Orkest combo, although you could also just get a hand trapped. Okay. This hand should be good. Alright, so first we're going to Thunder Dragon to get the 2 Thunders out of the deck so they don't get milled off of Charge of Light Brigade. We can just make Colossus by just specialing one of the VAs and then Tribute Summoning. At this point, that's obviously not the best play. And Shuffle, we'll play Charge of Light Brigade and see what the graveyard gives us. We can also just play the Fusion spell after making Cherubini, because we have Thunder Dragon in the graveyard. Alright, so that's for charge. We're gonna play charge, we're gonna mill 3. Yeah, Sorcerer, so we bricked on that drop. We lost a Foolish Parable, we got Thunder Dark Engrave, which is good. That means we can send the Chaos Betrayer, and there's a light in the graveyard already. So we're just gonna grab a Minerva, because that's one of the better discards. We could probably do the Trisbaena lock again, but I don't know if you want to do that over a Topologic Bomber. So I'll assume we're doing Topologic Bomber. So we're going to we're going to special the Scarm and normal the Graph. We're going to make Cherubini. Graph will activate and summon Seer from the deck. Next we'll activate Cherubini to send Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Rhino. Finding one-ofs is impossible in these decks. Activate Rhino, send Chaos Betrayer. This would be even better if we also milled the Roar, because then we get the hard summon Beatrice. Okay. Oh, this is in the graveyard. Next. There's a lot of options, so I'm going slow not because I'm trying to be boring, but it's because it's a very flexible deck. Next, I guess we start Orcust combo. So, Cerberus. It'd be nice to make a use of the Chaos Betrayer, because we don't really want it to go away. So, Seer's going to bring back the Cherubini. Discard, go into Mermaid. We're going to discard the, we could discard the Thunder Dragon, or we can discard the Minerva. Minerva gives us a random mill, which we don't really need right now, but I guess we'll do it. So we'll summon Orcust Nightmare, shuffle, and mill one card. The only thing that can be bad is if we mill the Hawk, but we can just play Thunder Fusion, I guess, and put it back, and then get it. So now we're going to mill one card for Minerva. Roar, that's amazing. So now we can hard summon the Beatrice. I guess I should really be putting the Cherubini on this side. That way I have the option of not doing the Trisbaena lock. Because this is a zone that never gets used. So now we'll play Chaos Betrayer, banishing the Thunder Dark. And a light monster, so I guess the Minerva is the least useful light monster. Thunder Dark will get us the Hawk. Okay. So yeah, we're not going to do Trisbaena, because we can hard summon Beatrice. So Chaos Betrayer will come back. I put the Chaos Betrayer. Did I banish it by accident? Yeah, Chaos Betrayer is coming back to the field. So the Dark will get us the Hawk. We'll use the Hawk to summon the Roar. So if we have both engraved, we get it this way. So we go into the, sorry, the camera keeps shifting. Thunder Colossus, which will then trigger the Roar, who can summon another copy of itself, which we can now use to hard summon Beatrice. So we're going to use these two to make the Galatea. These can now summon the Beatrice, since we're not locked into darks yet. At this point, we can Thunder Fusion another one, but we don't need to at the moment. I'm trying to think of what we can send to the graveyard also, because I guess we could put Titan on field as well. For fun, we will put Titan on the field. That will be a fun play. So we're going to activate the Beatrice, since we have the option to do so. I guess we should detach the Roar to protect our Chaos Betrayer, since we play only one of that. So we're going to mill any card in our deck. We'll see what our options are. Sorry. I guess we could send the Wand. That gives us a little more play. That lets us keep the Yugioh on the board with the Bomber lock. Next we will Orcust Nightmare, target anybody, send Harp. Harp's going to summon the skeleton, so I'll just get that out of the way. Harp summon skeleton. At this point, we need to go over. I'm trying to think of a way to summon the second. Okay. Because we're currently, normally make long Yursu, and then we have one zone open, and we need that zone to make the Bomber Dragon. Like, we go here normally, then we can bring back... Okay, we're going to bring back the Galatea. We're going to use the Galatea at this point to shuffle back the Harp to set the field spell, which we did not mill, which could change up how this goes sometimes. So the babel is going to get played. Next we can use the wand to summon back the skeleton. Then we can go into Dingirsu, reattaching the wand. You can also make Trisbaena instead instead of making Dingirsu here, you make it here, and then you link these. You'd have a 2 and a 1, and you would make Trisbaena instead. Next we're going to use these to make Topologic Bomber Dragon. And then we are going to activate Thunder Fusion, shuffling the OG Thunder Dragon into the deck, as well as, I guess it doesn't really matter which one we shuffle back. Do we have a banished one? Any banished card? We banished a Thunder Dark earlier, so we'll do Dark and Thunder Dragon into another Colossus. We can't do Titan at this point because we've activated Orcust. And then that'll trigger Bomber Dragon, which will then have to detach, I guess, the wand. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, that is a board off a completely random hand. And that's figuring it out on the fly. There's no specific combos on how to do some of these things. You just send different cards and you get different results. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I know it's probably pretty long. But yeah. That'll be the last video of this channel. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you like what you see, you know, membership on Legacy Crusaders is only $1 a month to be a member. Yeah, see what you, if you enjoy it, you know, sign up.